So we're setting off today on another journey, but this time down to Hampshire to pick our new tank up from Tek Tanks. Well, the weather here this weekend has been atrocious. You're just looking at our dinghy. I think I'm going to have to do a bit of bailing before I can use that. Never seen us so full. Right, Janet does keep asking me, can I install a bath? Ah, there we are. Oh, we're down in peaceful Hampshire. And we're only about 11 miles from Tek Tanks. We're based in Alton, so we'll be running up there shortly. They operate out of the old stables on a farm. Lovely setting.
And we've just had a wasp issue, so we've been sorting wasps out this morning, which is not nice. So this is our office. You would have sent us a drawing.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, with some dimensions and what have you. From that, we can produce a quotation. And then if you're happy with the quotation, because it's a custom tank, we probably ask you to pay up front or 50-50 or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's good. And then what happens is your sketch and our quote goes into a pack. It goes to the design engineer, and he produces a production drawing, which you probably would have got as well.
Yes.
Okay. From that production drawing, that's for you to see that we've got it correct, everything's correct at our end, but also it's good for you to measure twice. There's an opportunity there for you to move things around, because nothing's happened at that stage. Once the drawing's approved, that's when it moves to the next stage, which is production. And we have generally a lead time which varies through the year. Your pack would go into the queue, and once it's ready, it then moves into CNC. So that's forklift in, and then
8x4 sheet.
standard 4 sheets. And what happens then is the sheet is pulled off onto the CNC table here. Yeah. So here we have what we call a merge sheet. So the computer works out the best yield on a sheet of plastic. So this may be one of your panels. This could be Mr. Jones' panels. Yeah, so they're all mixed in. Yeah. And you can see they're numbered. So then the sheet comes onto the CNC machine, and then so the CNC machine merrily goes away and it starts cutting out the panels and the shapes on the sacrificial board. So you can see the scoring. Yeah. And then what happens is the CNC doesn't cut the panels all the way through. It's a little bit like an Airfix model. So the panels are joined to the plastic sheet just by little tabs. There's a few here. Look, there's a few little pieces here. And then what happens is the panel is slid off the CNC machine, complete with all the pieces, onto this table. And then with a chisel and a mallet, each panel is popped out of the frame. Any waste is put into these massive boxes here. We have two. We have one for white and one for black. And then we have bins for coloured plastics, and they go off to be recycled, melted down and made into plastic again or other things. So the HDPE is recyclable. It's food grade plastic, so it's good for water. We use the same plastic for diesel, waste. It's inert to any chemicals. It's not affected by the acid in black waste. So it's really, really good material, and it's really quite nice to machine and use. So once the panels have been popped out, they go into these bins here. So this would be a tank.
Yeah.
This would be a tank. We might have a battery box. We might have some other fabricated product in here. Yeah. So the panels will come through to the engineers and they go to the workshop bench. And then what happens is, this is Cameron. So what happens here is the panels are tacked together. So the black gun is a very lightweight gun and it's just tacking the panels together to hold them in the right position.
Right, yeah.
So the tank is assembled, and then what happens from here, all the fittings are put into the tank. This is an inspection hatch on the top here about to go in. And then these seams are heavy welded using these guns here.
Guns
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the finished result will be something like this. So you'll see the welds like this. So what happens is those guns, they heat that side of the panel. So those two sides of the panels are now wet hot, and then they squirt in molten plastic which joins the panels together.
Yeah.
Then that molten plastic is shaped. Yeah, so we just shape it, clean it up. And then that tank is ready to go to the next stage. So the next stage is our test stage, okay? So in the test stage, all the fittings are removed and all the fittings are then blanked off. Yeah, so we blank them all off, bar one.
Yeah.
And then what we do is we connect a line to it and we fill it with air up to 4 psi. Some tanks we do, commercial tanks we do sort of 5 psi. I think the highest pressure we've put a tank under is about 5.5 psi. So we just pump air into it, and then what happens is the tank, you can actually see the tank bow with the air pressure inside, and then simply with a diluted soapy water, you can't beat it, and a paintbrush, we go all over every weld looking for bubbles. Yeah, if we find a bubble, that's great, goes back and is sorted, and it comes back for testing. Generally it's pretty good. I mean, we do get some leaks from time to time, but the majority of the time it's fine. So when it leaves here, it then goes to the dispatch area, and here we've got a whole series of tanks penning, packing and palletizing, ready to go out.
Right, yeah.
And now your tank should be in here somewhere. Which we'll have to have a look and find. Yeah, so we've got an array of tanks. We've got some tanks here that are on the shelf, and some tanks here that have been custom built.
Yeah.
This black and yellow one, just for your interest, is what we call a lightweight tank. So racing boats, they want to keep everything as light as possible.
Right, I can see how it's been machined
It's just
away.
milled out, absolutely. So it's a much lighter tank for the size of tank that it is.
Yeah.
And we use, that tank will be a fuel tank because it's got brass fittings in it.
Yeah.
We don't put plastic fittings in fuel tanks because the diesel, over a period of time, will make the plastic fittings go brittle.
Yeah.
So we keep fuel tanks brass and black waste and water plastic, generally. Customers can say, oh, I'd rather have brass in my water tank. We do that for them, no problem at all. But generally plastic's good enough.
So that was a fantastic tour around the factory at Tek Tanks. It's not just fuel tanks they do, as Julian mentioned, water tanks, black water tanks, battery boxes, refrigerators. You can have a refrigerator made with a cold panel installed. You just need to ask Tek Tanks.